This is Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell on the Premier Radio Networks.
Mel Waters has appeared on Coast to Coast AM several times over the years now. Many may remember his accounts of the mysterious hole on his property in central Washington, which appeared to have no bottom. The hole was, by Mel's account, measured to a depth of 80,000 feet, utilizing fishing line and a weight. Since Mel's first appearance on the show, many strange, fascinating, and rather unfortunate things have happened to Mel and the people somehow related to the hole.
Welcome to Not My Reality. I'm your host, as always, Vince Stradamus. Our story starts back in 1997 when this mysterious dude popped up out of nowhere. His name was Mel Waters. Now, he dialed into a radio show and he said he stumbled upon this crazy, never-ending pit in his yard. He also insisted it could bring animals back from the dead. All right, it's a good starting point. On February 21st, 1997, Art Bell, rest in peace, he was running the show on his late-night radio gig, Coast to Coast. This program was pulling in up to 15 million night owls at its height. It was all about spooky stuff and conspiracy theories. But on that day, a caller going by the name of Mel Waters, he rang in with the craziest tale that Bell had ever heard. And it set off a decades-long hunt for a spooky happening that got dubbed Mel's Hole. He kept dialing into the show, spilling the beans to Bell a grand total of 5 times from 1997 to 2002. And every time, the stories about Mel's Hole, they just got weirder and weirder. And after the 5th call, Mel vanished from the scene, and this man was never heard from again. And it's been decades now since the first phone call to Art Bell. So let's take a look, let's see what's going on with the bottomless pit to hell, a.k.a. Mel's Hole. It's a parody. If you don't have a sense of humor, go. Welcome. Is this my reality? Is this your reality? Support the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell. Help us with the algorithm, please. Let's take a look. Mel Waters, he made his initial call to Art Bell's show, revealing that there's this mysterious hole of who knows how deep right there on his property in Kittitas County. Hope I said that right. That's this little rural spot in central Washington. According to KEPR-TV, he tried to figure out how deep the hole was by attaching a roll of Lifesavers candy to a fishing line. His thinking was, if there was water down there, the Lifesavers would dissolve. But even after going down 80,000 feet, Waters insisted that he hadn't reached the bottom yet, and that the Lifesavers, they were still holding up just fine. And here's the kicker. He mentioned that this hole had some real oddities to it. There's no echoes bouncing around, and the critters were steering clear of the place like it gave off bad vibes. Quote, I brought the dogs with me, Waters said. They wouldn't go anywhere near the damn thing. He threw in another wild one. A black beam supposedly coming out of the hole. As per the Seattle Times, stick a portable radio close and it starts playing shows and tunes from way back. And if you hold metals near the opening, they supposedly change into something else entirely. Here's one for you. Waters claimed that his neighbor chucked a dead dog into the hole. And lo and behold, it showed up later, kicking and alive. Get the fuck out of here with that. All right, that's some freaky Pet Cemetery shit right there. Waters, he started saying Uncle Sam got curious about the hole. In a rundown of Mel Waters' calls, he spilled that the government folks pushed him off his land after he told the story. And they were throwing him a hefty $250,000 a month to rent out the place. $250,000 a month for a hole? That does sound like our government. Man, it just gets crazier. Mel Waters dialed up Bell's show again in 1997, once in 2000 and then twice in 2002. At first, people thought he was legit because he sounded smart and careful. thingamabobbers are. But as time went on, his tales, they just got more and more unbelievable. He said that when he started talking about the hole, his wife, well, she just up and vanished. And his land magically vanished from all satellite views. He threw in another tale too, saying that when he visited a Basque settlement in Nevada, he stumbled upon another one. One of these strange holes with supernatural vibes, just like the first one. This pit seemed to have no end either. And of course, the critters wanted nothing to do with it. Love the word critters. Now, here's the real eye-opener. Water spilled that he and the Basque crew decided to drop a sheep into the second hole just to see what would go down with the living critter in there. When they hauled the poor sheep back up, it was gone. But it had sprouted this giant throbbing tumor. So of course, as the Basque folks sliced open that tumor, according to Waters, what popped out was an 18-inch creature that kind of looked like a seal, but with surprisingly human-like eyes. Waters locked eyes with this thing, he said. He claimed it shot him a look full of the deepest understanding. After that, he said the Basque folks decided to toss the creature back into the hole. What the ever-loving... Okay, Mel Waters, he dropped one last bombshell on Coast to Coast in December of 2022. In this report, he spilled that the government, they got wind of the second hole, snatching away the ice that wouldn't stop burning. The what? And he had a hunch someone was tailing him. Also mentioned the Basque crew had let him in on the creature making return visits to the village after they tossed it back into the hole. Apparently, the creature was trying to give them a heads up about the risk tied to the never-ending burning ice. All right, what that is, there's also a rumor that when you put water into Mel's hole and take it back out, it turns into ice. And if you light the ice on fire, it never stops burning. But I digress. And that call there, that turned out to be the final time anyone ever heard from Mel Waters. Mel Waters wasn't the only one swearing up and down that there was some kind of otherworldly hole in Washington state. Gerald Osborne, a local shaman from Kittitas Valley who goes by the name Red Elk, said he's been to Mel's hole multiple times since 1961, when his dad first took him there. According to Red Elk, the hole doesn't just lead somewhere underground. He thinks it's a sneaky government spot and a hot spot for alien stuff too. Back in 2002, Red Elk organized a crew to go hunt for that pit. He teamed up with a bunch of believers who connected on a chat site that was all about Mel's hole. Sadly, the crew couldn't track it down. Still, whispers about a mysterious hole in the county had been around way before Mel Waters. Jay Nikhil, then 34, during the search, he grew up in Ellensburg, the biggest town in the county. He shared that when he was younger, he and his buddy stumbled upon a hole that seemed a whole lot like Mel's hole. It was deep enough that you couldn't see the bottom. He swore no noise came back when they tossed rocks into it. Someone working at a snowmobile dealership, he spilled the beans, saying that the tale of the hole on Montage Ridge, it's been common local gossip for ages. A lot of people talk about it. Could be something out there. But the employee said, I've never seen it. Let's get to the drone footage. They dropped the camera in Mel's hole. What was captured shocked the world. Drone footage of Mel's hole. Look, recently, tons of videos have popped up with titles like this. Mel's hole found. Drone footage is shocking. Yet there's nowhere you can see this alleged video. There's nowhere. It's not found. I'm calling bullshit on this until I see the actual video and not some sort of AI ninny Babylon about a non-existent video. I'm just going to leave this here. Leave a link down below if you think this really exists. Lots of people have tried to hunt down Mel's hole over the years, but the experts say the enchanting pit Mel Waters talked about, it's not just unproven, it's downright impossible according to the laws of physics. Jack Powell, a geologist at Washington State Department of Natural Resources, pointed out that a hole as deep as Waters described would collapse into itself under tremendous pressure and the heat from the surrounding strata. Well, that's why it's supernatural, dude. Powell caught wind of the hole when he tuned into Bell's show, and it caught his interest. Quote, I got my interest in the funny kind of way. I knew Art Bell's stuff is basically Sasquatch, UFOs, and the like, but it was sort of entertaining. But the moment he heard Waters saying that the hole went down 80,000 feet, Powell was sure this was a sham. He mentioned that the hole Waters was talking about was probably an old gold mine, a shaft Powell used to mess around with as a kid. He explained that this shaft, sloping into the ground, was likely about 90 feet deep, and at most 300 feet deep. It's worth the 80,000 feet of... All right, anyway. To this day, there's still no proof that Mel's hole is real. And for some folks, it's been way more of a headache than a puzzle worth even solving. Milton Waggy, for example, he's a historian at the Ellensburg Public Library. He shared with KEPR in 2012 that right after Mel Waters made the first call to Art Bell's show, the library phone was buzzing like crazy with stories and theories about the hole. Then, the file on Mel's hole at the library vanished into thin air. It just disappeared, which lends itself to the mysteriousness of Mel's hole, Waggy said. Did Mel take it? Did it just rise out of the locked file cabinet? You never know. There might be a hole out there. Red Elk still sticks to his guns, saying that the hole is for real, but he's done with the interviews on the topic. And he's giving a heads up, he's probably better off not knowing where it is. Quote, don't look for the hole, stay away. I have to say I've been burned by you guys, the media and all, many times with this Mel's hole. They make me out to be a liar. They say one thing and they do something else. Red Elk had said this in 2012. The hole isn't important. Just stay away from trying to find it. The government has it. It's totally off limits. And as for Mel Waters, he's going radio silent since the last chat with Art Bell in 2002. Maybe the government caught up with him. Or maybe he was just a figment of our imagination all along. What do you think? You think this guy's real? You think he had a hole in his backyard? Bringing animals back to life? Throwing out couches? Or do you think somebody just made this shit up, went on the radio, and everybody was entertained by it? Leave a comment down below. Me personally, I wouldn't have fallen for this. I didn't. Alright, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's see what's on Coast to Coast.